Hello everyone and welcome to this short video on new trade theory. In this part we're going to be looking at how free trade makes goods cheaper or has the potential to make goods cheaper and offer consumers a greater variety of goods. Let's get started. We're going to make two assumptions here, and these are about economies of scale. So our first assumption is that in any market, a producer would have to produce 500 vehicles or more in order to get economies of scale that allow them to produce a vehicle that's cheap enough for people to buy. And the second assumption is that we can continue getting these economies of scale up to 1,000 vehicles. Just to reiterate, if you produce fewer than 500 vehicles, the vehicles are going to be too expensive. And secondly, if you produce between 500 and 1,000 vehicles per year, the vehicles will get progressively cheaper up until a maximum of 1,000. Let's have a look at the size of markets in two mythical countries, Vanland and Cabrioland. In Vanland, the market for vans is 600, the market for sports cars is 400. Notice that number 400 is under the 500 threshold. Cabrioland, we have the opposite situation. Demand for vans, the potential demand for vans is 400, and the demand for sports cars is 600. All right. In our first situation, there is no trade, no free trade between these two countries. Well, in Vanland, they can go ahead and produce vans at an affordable price because it's 600 vans beyond our 500 threshold. But there's only demand for 400 sports cars. And of course, that's under our threshold, so they're going to be too expensive. So even though customers might want them, they can't afford them. Cabrioland, the opposite case. It's worthwhile producing sports cars, but it's not worthwhile producing vans because they'll be too expensive for consumers. Now let's imagine that the governments get together and sign a free trade deal. In this situation, what would potentially happen is that Vanland produces 600 vans for their domestic market and produces 400 vans which they can export to Cabrioland. Cabrioland could produce the 600 cabrios, the 600 sports cars for their own market and produce another 400 vehicles that could then be exported to Vanland. This means that both countries will be producing 1,000 vehicles per year, maximizing their potential economies of scale. So what does this mean? It means that customers in both markets now have a choice of vehicle that's affordable. It also means that vehicles in both markets are going to be cheaper. Therefore, we can conclude that free trade leads to more choice and lower prices. Thank you for watching, and I'd like to acknowledge Pixabay for the illustrations. Thank you very much. Until next time, goodbye.